Alrighty, here we are, the reincarnation of the show and go. Jackson and I are here, and we've got a special guest, Sean Daniel. He's an NBA photographer, works for League Fits. We're all about that League Fits, aren't we, Jackson?
Oh, we love a bit of that.
And look at his kid. He's got the tie-dye on. He's turned up. How are you, man?
Good, man. Thanks you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Nah, no worries. Well, yeah, like I said, man, you're in the NBA. I caught your eye on Instagram, some of your photography and whatnot, and being an ANZ clothing brand and the sports media company, obviously we had our eyes on RJ, and you take his photographs and whatnot behind the scenes of all his workout. Tell us about your journey on how you became a photographer and how you got to where you are now.
So originally, I'm from New York. So right before I came here, in the process of school, I would go back and forth. So when I didn't have class, I'd go back home. I started over there, and I kind of had hopes of becoming a YouTuber. So that's why I brought my camera at first. So I didn't think I was going to end up taking pictures. And then once I bought it, it kind of just hit me, and I was in my head, I was like, I have nothing to record. I don't know what I want to record. I don't know what I want to do. I played basketball kind of all my life growing up. So I said, why not start taking pictures of basketball players and see how it goes from there. So started off with that. When I came over here, I had messaged a couple of I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, the McDonald's All-Americans over here. So it's like
Where's over here? Sorry, bro. Whereabouts when you say over here?
I'm currently in Dallas, Texas right now.
Oh, right. Sweet. Yeah.
New York. So the McDonald's All-American is basically the top 24 kids in their senior class. Yeah. So reached out to a couple of the ones that live in the area over here, and they had responded back. And that's how I kind of got linked in with RJ. He had reached out to me and said, like, hey, I need you to come to some games. So we kind of made a connection to there, and then random gigs here and there, kind of going to college games or university games for you guys, and shooting that stuff, a lot of high school basketball. For the summertime, how I got connected with League Fits was when I went back home to New York. I basically got a real dope picture of J.R. Smith, and I sent it to the guy who's now my boss. And from there, we kind of kicked off, became his intern, and kind of just started doing stuff for League Fits and Slam from there. And, now it's kind of just taken off.
How good, bro.
Yes.
That's gone.
Sick, man. Sorry, Lukey. I'm going to be a fanboy here because obviously, RJ down here he's our North Star, mate. So we don't get a lot of NBA prospects down here. Stephen Adams is kind of the only golden boy for our whole fucking country. But when RJ was down, because he's from Texas, yeah, RJ originally? Yeah. So when he did come back down here and then obviously did a season with the Breakers and now he's back in the States doing that push, did you just stay connected with him, and whether it was on Instagram or whatever, and then when he landed, you're like, bro, let's do it? Or how did that relationship sort of continue?
No, before he left, we were doing a lot of work, just getting him ready to go over there and just pushing out content. That was right when he signed the whole Li-Ning sneaker deal. So right before he came, I was with him. We were doing a lot of that stuff for Li-Ning and making sure we had content with the shoes and stuff like that. But when he was over there, we would keep in touch a good amount. I text him after games and stuff, and it's more than just can you come take pictures? We talk about like his stats and what he could have done better, just how he feels. And so, yeah, when he came back, it was just, I think the first week he came back, we saw each other like that next day and just started working again, getting right back on track.
He didn't bring up some awkward journalist from Auckland that walked along the beach for a great article?
Yeah. Me and RJ go way back, mate. We had some slow walks on the beach. What about, mate? So you've obviously seen some pretty decent players in your short career or time there, man. I'm going to stay on RJ just because I'm a fanboy. But what, I suppose, from a pure basketball sense, we can get back into the creative stuff. I'm sure Lukey's got a million questions he wants to ask you about that, but I'm a sports nut. What about, like, in terms of pure basketball ability? I'm super fucking high on RJ. I know a lot of scouts are super high on RJ. How does he compare to some of the guys that you have sort of photographed or seen play live? And if you had to make like a comparison, a player comp for someone who we might know, who do you reckon he most sort of, I suppose, resembles, if anyone?
So first, him compared to other people is kind of crazy to think about. He's a freak athlete, like just made different, can jump out of the roof. And keep in mind, this kid reclassified, so he's younger than some of the guys he's a year ahead. So the guys that I've seen kind of play in college games, he would dog them.
Yeah.
Without doubt. I've seen him play in pro runs here against some NBA guys, Monte Ellis, guys like that, and he's killed. He's done very good. So player-wise, if I had to compare with someone in the NBA,
I suppose the one that people compare, and it's hard because he's such an athletic freak, but a guy like Russell Westbrook, where he can dominate you with his athleticism, but is also a gifted passer. I know RJ, perhaps people didn't see it when he was down here in the NBL. Part of it might have been the supporting cast. I'm not bagging my breakers. I love my breakers. But, a lot of people he kicks to and they miss the open look, so he doesn't get the assist, but he's creating chances for people. So is Russell Westbrook a stretch, or is that someone who you kind of get it?
I'd give him a Russell Westbrook comparison. I think he puts a lot of pressure on the defense.
He's a gun defender because he's so long.
He can go. So once he gets in the lane, he's getting in and he's dishing it out. So, yeah, I'd say the Russ comparison is good. He plays with a lot of energy. He's known as people say he's a big talker. So he has that kind of just that I don't want to say ego. He has that drive to him that he's really competitive, and I love it. So
you would have heard some decent trash talk on the sidelines in your time. How does he rate?
I've heard plenty. I've recorded all of it. I've talked about it after, so I've gotten all of it.
Yeah.
Now, Gun Bro, when you're taking photos, obviously you've got like a bit of a look about the way that you edit and whatnot. Walk us through a little bit of your process of, I guess, what you're looking for when they're training and when the guys are on the court, as to what you're trying to capture, and then how that translates into the end product. Which, man, like you must lift the blues and things like that, man. It just looks so grouse, man. It's sick.
So as far as editing, I like to just play with a lot of different things. My biggest thing is if I'm in a gym with about 10 other content creators, media people, I don't want to look the same as theirs. I want to give like the athletes I work with and stuff a different type of perspective to it, and just playing with creativity. A lot of the times when I go to NBA games, all the photographers kind of have the same, I don't want to say, they basically have the same pictures and the colors are somewhat the same. So what I try to do is really just play with a lot of the color and, stretch it. If a color is red, I'll change it to like pink or like an orange or something. And it's
Dame Lillard shot, man. That's sick.
Yeah. So stuff like that, and a lot of people don't like it because people say you're taking out the realism out of it. But for me, I'm using my creative edge, and I just don't want to be like everyone else that's doing the same thing as, So, but as far as editing wise, I can't tell you how many times I go back and re-edit. Like even when you guys were posting stuff, like I'll find stuff I don't like, and I'm like, I don't want it. Like I'll go through it again. And I think now has been a good time with the whole Corona thing over here, just being stuck at home, just being able to go back and look at old pictures and say, I could have done this better. Or when I give them a slam, it's such like a high pace, and I have to give it to them real fast. So I don't have time to sit there and like, I really want to do this, I really want to do that. It's just I got to get it and go. Whereas now I have more time to sit there and just look back at it and like actually analyze what I'm doing and make it my style and my way and make sure everything's all good.
Yeah, bro, it looks sick. What's it like? Have you ever been a bit like starstruck walking through, especially with some like the league fit stuff, man? Those guys are walking through and they're dripping hot, man. And you just got to go bang, bang.
I will say my first game, I started off doing the Dallas Mavericks. So my first game, just seeing Lukey. I'm not from Dallas, so I didn't care too much about like, the Dallas Mavericks, whatever the case is. I wasn't like a huge crazy person about it.
You better not say you're a Knicks fan, man.
I'm not. My favorite player is Russ, so I'm a big Russell Westbrook guy. That's no, I'm not a Knicks fan though. Don't worry.
We won't do you.
Just jump on the Nets, bro. It's not too late. Go on.
Hey, one thing, I hope RJ does not go to the Knicks, but
yeah.
But yeah, my first game was actually that Portland game, and it was crazy just seeing Dame like just walk right by you and just being right in front of you. Stuff like that is kind of weird, and it was this is my first year in photography, so within there, you're the youngest kid in the arena, like taking pictures. You're not working for, huge like CNN, NBC, any of those big companies. So that was a big thing. I'd probably say the biggest like starstruck moment I had was when LeBron came to Dallas. And I don't know if you've ever seen like when they do that little football thing in the beginning. Like
yeah.
Game. They were doing that, and LeBron literally like was this close away from stepping on my shoe, and I had it on video, and I was like, like that was, I don't know. It's LeBron, right? How many times are you going to see like LeBron in front of you? So that was probably my biggest thing. And then second, I'd probably say was I went to Oklahoma when Russ had his little return back there. So that was cool. Just like the moment of it was really big, and the whole arena, OKC is a big, huge fan base. So
that's our second team down here, bro. Breakers in OKC. That's what we love. Bro, what about I suppose the interesting thing this year, you mentioned you're a bit of a basketball nerd, so am I. With all this Corona stuff and guys like RJ, et cetera, not getting to, or you correct me if I'm wrong, but not getting to work out in front of scouts like they typically would pre-draft with all this lockdown stuff, how do you think that's going to maybe affect where people are drafted? Do you think it'll matter in the end, or how do you see that going down?
I'd say it depends. It kind of depends on the player and where you're at. I know the argument with RJ was a lot of people said, since he went to the NBL, his stock went down a little bit, but he's playing against pros. A lot of the college kids are playing against regular college kids and they're throwing up 30, 40. Yeah. For the numbers he put up in the NBL was good. I don't think his draft stock should have went down. I think it probably should have went up because you're playing against pros. But I'll say
because we've seen that with Melo, right? I mean, he came down here, played on played on the worst possible team, put up decent numbers up, being great, and he's still probably going to go 1 or 2. So it didn't affect his draft stock too much, eh?
Yeah, but I mean, for guys that are trying to prove something, it kind of sucks because you can't go to a combine, you can't show off, your vertical, you can't show how your shooting has improved. Because for guys like RJ, a lot of people knock his shooting, but the guy's been in the gym constantly working on his shooting. He's been in the gym with Mike Miller, one of the NBA's greatest shooters.
He's the GOAT. He was the boy in Miami that used to spray him off with one shoe and hit the corner threes. Yeah. I love those role players in those Miami days. Norris Cole and shit. I love that shit.
So, yeah. I mean, yeah, I'd say it could hurt or it could help. I'd say in RJ's case, if you sleep on him, you'll regret it. But it is what it is.
What's it like?
Do you have a sorry, Lukey. Last question. Do you have like a dream fit or dream scenario? Like obviously he's going to get drafted. We all know it's going to be in that probably 1 to 15 range somewhere, whether he goes 5, 10 or 15 or 25. Do you have like a dream fit? You don't have to tell us what he's thinking, but do you have a dream fit where you'd love to see him play, man?
So I look at this like every week, like where he's going and
yeah, same
spots. I'd probably say like my place I would want him to go is probably Phoenix.
Yeah.
Just because D-Book, Kelly Oubre, I'm a big fan of those guys, especially Kelly with the whole league fits thing. I think it'd be
kills it.
And then they're a young team. They want to go. They're not looking to slow down the pace. RJ, D-Book, and Kelly Oubre in the lineup is going to be pretty tough with DeAndre Ayton. So
he'd be filthy in that pick and roll with DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah, and Rubio's on his way out, so I think he'd be a good fit. Secondly, I don't know. I'd say Phoenix is probably my top choice.
I like that. I want to see him go to OKC just so he can throw lobs to big Steven Adams. But yeah, that'd be sick anyway. Sorry, Lukey, go ahead, bro.
No, I lost my question, eh? I got caught up when you mentioned the league fit stuff. I was just dreaming about all those accounts.
Oh, what about, all right, we'll put you on the spot then, Sean. You mentioned all the league fit stuff. What about if you had to give us your top 3 to 5 boys who basically never miss? If you had to go all-time kits, because we all know you love Russ as a player. He barely misses in the fits either. Give us your top 3 to 5, bro.
Top 3 to 5, like currently that are playing right now?
Right now, yeah.
All right, I'm going Russ. Russ is different. I think he started the whole coming in with the whole nerdy glasses, the photography vest. I thought that was all cool. So he's one. Shea is killing it right now.
Yeah, that's your boy, eh, Lukey?
Yeah, he's gone rocking the OG Jordan 1s, from 84 and shit like that. Gone.
So I'd say Shea, Russ. I'm a Jason Tatum fan. I like Jason Tatum. I think he's kind of slept on.
Yeah.
And let's see. I mean, Kelly, but Kelly's real basic. I wouldn't say he's basic, but everyone loves Kelly. I'm trying to think of a guy who slept on that I like. I think PJ. PJ always walks in with a different pair of sneakers in his hand and always.
Bro, his shoe collection is mouth-watering. It's actually stupid. He's got the best kick game in any fucking sport. Still slept on to this day because he's such an old-timer, but yeah, he's gone.
What about Tyler Herro's up there? He's got his content creator with him taking some snaps wherever he goes, it looks like.
Yeah, I like Ty. I think he's got a way to go, but he's definitely got some swag to him.
He does. It's a good little giggle watching his content.
Yeah.
he's a fan favorite. One of our boys at YKTR, Justin Horrow, is a big Tyler Hero fan, called himself the Hero Scope. So Tyler Hero is another one we attach ourselves to down here, eh, Lukey?
Yeah, we've got a little gang going. Now, Mo, with in terms of like photographers and whatnot going into the bubble, have you got any insight on what that looks like? Are they have to be all locked down as well in Disneyland?
So what I've heard every team is taking one content creator with them, which kind of sucks because that's how a lot of people connect on Instagram and Twitter and, a bunch of socials. As far as other people getting in, like people like me, if I wanted to go in, I'm not sure how that's working because I don't even think they've addressed it yet.
Yeah.
It's looking kind of tough. I'm assuming only if you're ESPN or if you're a bit like TNT, one of those networks, you're probably going to be able to get in, or if you're like Devin Booker's cousin or something that wants to take pictures somehow. But other than that, I haven't heard too much, and there hasn't really been much like tweets or anything. Usually I can kind of catch it on Twitter, people saying, I'm going to Orlando and stuff, but it's really just been people that are doing team socials, and that's really it.
Yeah. In terms of like a content creator world, who would be in like the NBA bubble, not talking about the bubble, but that world of someone as a photographer that you look up to? Obviously, there's people like Cassie Athena. She seems like quite well respected in the industry. Have you ever met her or had any dealings with her through what you've been doing?
I haven't met Cassie. I actually haven't met a lot of the people that I follow on social media.
Yeah.
A lot of it is really just like, if Slam does post me or if I post a nice picture, a lot of people will kind of just follow and like we'll converse through there, but we won't really meet. I'd probably say in the bubble right now, I really like Oklahoma's social team. I've met them and I've gotten a chance to like talk to a bunch of them, so I think they're great. Trying to think who else. I would definitely say Oklahoma social team is up there.
Is that a gig that you would like sort of want to do, man? If you're looking dream case scenario, obviously you're killing it with what you do now and aligning yourselves with guys like RJ, and that's so cool. But is being sort of on that, like on the beat with a team specifically, is that kind of one of the dream gigs you're building towards? Is that what you want to get involved in?
It could be. I wouldn't mind it. A lot of it though is real. I don't know. It's kind of tough because in those type of senses, when you're a team shooter, you really just got to push out content so fast. So you're not really getting enough time to, if I wanted to do stuff with my edits now, if you looked at my page compared to an NBA photographer's page, it's real, I don't want to say basic, but theirs is like simple edit and post.
Yeah.
And mine's like, I'm putting in a lot more work to change color and do that stuff. We're also, when you're working for a team, they kind of limit your creativity. You're not really allowed to change the color, just because team logos and stuff like that. Whereas me, I can kind of do whatever I want. So it'd be great. I would love to travel with an NBA team and be able to document, hopefully a championship or something like that. But
it'd be half cool to do it for like a season or something, and get a feel for it and experience it, and then maybe do your own thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How does it work for you with stuff? Like, what type of role do you do with them, especially as like a League Fits intern as well? Like, how does that all work?
So with League Fits, basically what I'm in charge of, during the season, I basically have every team's social account notifications on. So as soon as I'll go through,
a nightmare. Your phone would be going nuts.
So I'll go through the schedule of teams and what time they play, and I kind of know around what time walk-ins will be because I've been to games and stuff. So if a game starts at 7, I'll start checking socials around like 5 or 6, or even right before game time, and they'll usually start tossing up fit pictures, or even some teams are really good at just emailing them to us or sharing them with us because they know that we'll usually post them.
Yeah.
So when that is the case, just being the first to post it, coming up with the witty caption, that's kind of what we're known for at League Fish, just coming up with different captions, not just a lot of basic stuff. I'd say with that, just posting, when we have to do stuff with like sponsored content. So if you do stuff for GOAT or just like random companies, if we have to do stuff for them, just making sure that I get the right stuff. So for All-Star Weekend, we teamed up with Puma. So I was kind of in charge of going through a bunch of the Puma athletes and getting like their top fits and putting them on a board and sending them to Puma. And there's a lot of stuff that goes into it kind of behind the scenes of what people sees. It's not just posting and going. It's a lot more busy work, especially looking through like photo databases. And if it's someone's birthday, you're not looking at the most recent fit. You're trying to go all the way back to when they first started and like kind of show the evolution of their drip. So, yeah,
we had our own fake drip season down here, didn't we, Lukey, with some of the footy boys?
Yeah, so our main sport, rugby league, and some of the boys, they all love the NBA, so they started doing like the walks during their preseason, getting shots of all the gear, and it was like the
competition
the
half shut it down, didn't they?
Yeah, the league like sort of like put a hold on it, which was unfortunate because I think it's such great hype for the game, but then there's sponsors involved, and I sort of understand that side of it. But no, man, I think we're almost running out of time. But Sean, man, thank you for being the first guest on the Show and Go, man. We love your content, love your photos. Keep hyping up RJ for us. We're right behind him as well. Let him know that YKTR Sports is behind him in the draft. So anything from you, Jackson, before we sign off?
Just tell him to basically refuse to go anywhere other than OKC so he can lob it to big Steven Adams, all right? That's where we want to see him, boy. Cheers, Sean, bro. You're a legend, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys, man. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks, bro. Catch you soon.
Peace.